Let's now begin with that story of the former Lugari Member of Parliament, Cyrus Jirongo, who has died while overtaking along Nakuru-Nairobi highway.
According to police reports, early morning on Saturday at about 3 a.m., the former Lugari legislator Cyrus Jirongo was driving along Nakuru-Nairobi highway when he met his death after colliding with a Climax bus at Karai area in Naivasha. According to the driver of the bus, Jirongo's car, a Mercedes-Benz, drove from a petrol station and allegedly entered the wrong lane.
Hakugive aliingia kwa mafuta kwa barabara na akaona upande yake gari zimeweka jam. Akaamua kuja penye niko.
When police arrived, the lone occupant of the car had succumbed to injuries, while occupants of the bus remained unhurt. On further probe, the occupant was revealed as Cyrus Jirongo, the former Lugari Member of Parliament.
Gari ndogo ilikuwa na mtu mmoja. Gari yangu ilikuwa na abiria 65.
Kuna mtu alipanda majani.
Wakati nilijaribu kuokoa nikasikia gari yangu inaenda chini. Sasa mimi nikanyaga akakuja kama ameniingia.
Tonight, fresh questions emerging over the circumstances surrounding the death of former Lugari Member of Parliament and ex-cabinet minister Cyrus Jirongo. A security guard who was at the petrol station says he witnessed the fatal crash, offering an account that appears to contradict earlier reports about the moments leading to the accident.
Now, CCTV footage from Eagle petrol station has cast fresh doubt on the circumstances surrounding the horrific death of former cabinet minister and Lugari MP Cyrus Jirongo. Contrary to claims by Climax bus driver that Jirongo was overtaking vehicles in a heavy 2 a.m. traffic. Moments before the head-on collision, the footage shows there was no traffic at all and that Jirongo was not overtaking.
At 2:18 a.m., Cyrus Jirongo drives into a petrol station. He doesn't stop. He doesn't fuel. He turns around. 39 seconds later, he's dead. CCTV captures every move. The U-turn, the pause, the wrong lane, the impact. Video sourced from Eagle petrol station in Karai in Naivasha shows events unfolding faster than earlier police briefings suggested. What was once described as a routine accident now looks like a sequence of deliberate or deeply confused decisions made in under 60 seconds. At exactly 2:18 and 40 seconds a.m., Jirongo's white Mercedes-Benz enters the petrol station from the Nairobi direction. Station attendants later confirm 3 critical facts. He was alone, he spoke to no one, he did not attempt to refuel. The vehicle moves past the pumps smoothly, almost as if the stop was never meant to be a stop at all. Within seconds, the Mercedes executes a tight U-turn inside the station compound. No hesitation, no exit to the shop, no sign of mechanical distress. This maneuver lasts less than a minute, an unusually short stop for anyone pulling into a petrol station at that hour. Investigators have noted this moment carefully. Why enter at all? At 2:19 and 19 seconds a.m., the Mercedes exits the station. Here's where the footage becomes chilling. Instead of merging safely, Jirongo makes a right turn, rejoining the highway toward Nairobi, but in the wrong lane, directly into oncoming traffic heading to Nakuru. There is a brief pause at the exit, then commitment. At 2:19 and 25 seconds a.m., just 6 seconds later, the collision occurs. A Climax coach bus carrying approximately 65 passengers slams head-on into the Mercedes at a high speed. The impact drags the small vehicle roughly 25 meters along the tarmac. The car spins violently before coming to rest at the roadside.
The story of Cyrus Jirongo does not end at the crash site. It reopens in court corridors and political chambers. Just days before his death, the former cabinet minister had already set a legal process in motion. His lawyers Dunstan Umari and Cliff Umbeta now confirmed that Jirongo had issued clear instructions to file a case in court, instructions that were never withdrawn.
Fresh questions emerging over the circumstances surrounding the death of former Lugari Member of Parliament and ex-cabinet minister Cyrus Jirongo. A security guard who was at the petrol station says he witnessed the fatal crash, offering an account that appears to contradict earlier reports about the moments leading to the accident. TV47's Alvin Kidinji takes a look at the account of the eyewitnesses against the earlier reports.
Ephraim Ndio Cheptek, a security guard on duty at a petrol station along the Nairobi-Nakuru highway on the night Cyrus Jirongo died, has offered a sharply different version of events. Cheptek says he was the only person alert at the time of the accident at 3 a.m. and insists that the circumstances surrounding the crash were unusual.
Wakati huo akigongwa ni mimi tu, askari nilikuwa bado macho na niliyashuhudia yale ambayo yalitukia. Wakati aliingia kwa polepole kidogo, na alipofika karibu kwa mafuta akachomoka tena kidogo. Kwa hivyo jinsi alipokuwa anaingia si wa kawaida, ilikuwa ni tofauti kabisa.
According to Cheptek, the road was calm and completely clear before the accident. He says no vehicle was trailing Jirongo's car and there was no traffic in either direction until after the collision.
Kiangalia kwenye barabara ulikuwa umetulia. Barabara ulikuwa umetulia kwa huo muda mchache. Magari hayakuwa na mfululiza, na hiyo gari tu pekee ndio ilikuja, na muda huo baada ya matukio ndio magari mengine yalikuja sasa yakafululiza. Sababu sasa speed ya magari yalikuwa slow ndio mengine, lakini yeye akija hamna gari yoyote ambayo iliandamana naye. Alikuwa ni yeye na yeye peke yake.
Hakugive way. Wakati aliona upande yake ya kupanda Nairobi magari meshikana, alifanya hesabu overtake hizo gari. Na mimi naye nikamuona nikiwa mbali. Nilipomuona nikiwa mbali, nikajaribu kukanyaga hiyo gari break na kulikuwa kumenyesha. Nikaona nitamwaga watu 67. Nikienda kando nitamwaga watu 67. Sasa alikuja kama ameniingia direct kichwa kwa kichwa.
The controversial demise of politician come businessman Cyrus Jirongo has now presented fresh twists, with the climax bus driver Cyrus Kamau Githinji expected to return to Naivasha traffic base tomorrow Monday, December 22nd, for further police action. Few hours after the 2:19 a.m. horrific head-on collision, this is what Githinji eloquently stated.
Wakati aliona upande yake ya kupanda Nairobi magari meshikana, alifanya hesabu overtake hizo gari. Na mimi naye nikamuona nikiwa mbali.
Githinji's testimony contradicts footage captured by CCTV cameras obtained from Eagle petrol station. The footage shows how the late Jirongo drove in at 2:18 a.m. and 44 seconds from Nairobi direction and did not drive to the petrol station's filling pumps. Instead, he made a U-turn in 34 seconds and at 2:19 and 19 seconds headed to the exit and turned hastily towards Nairobi, the direction he had come from. And 6 seconds later, at 2:19 and 25 seconds, collided with the climax bus that was ferociously rolling downhill towards Naivasha, crashed into Cyrus Jirongo, dragging him for some distance, with the Mercedes spinning off the road before the bus eventually stopped. The road remained clear before another vehicle driving towards Nairobi arrived at the scene 1 minute later, slowed down but did not stop. From the CCTV footage, no passenger disembarked to even check on the incident that could have ended their lives, given that the stretch is a black spot. The driver said he was carrying 67 persons that until today, and despite the many questions, none has come out to talk about the incident and their narrow escape. More intriguing is this white Probox vehicle that also drove into Eagle petrol station 29 seconds after Jirongo drove in, raising questions on the coincidence of the two driving from the same direction and entering the filling station at the same time in the wee hours. Immediately the Probox entered, Jirongo exited the station 6 seconds later, zooming back to Nairobi before he crashed, implying he could have entered the petrol station to shake off the Probox that could have been trailing him for a while, possibly from Nairobi. More intriguing is this white Probox vehicle that also drove into Eagle petrol station 29 seconds after Jirongo drove in, raising questions on the coincidence of the two driving from the same direction and entering the filling station at the same time in the wee hours. Immediately the Probox entered, Jirongo exited the station 6 seconds later, zooming back to Nairobi before he crashed, implying he could have entered the petrol station to shake off the Probox that could have been trailing him for a while, possibly from Nairobi. According to security expert George Msamali, it was not a coincidence. Jirongo was desperately attempting to save his life. It was possibly a tiger tail.
Possibly he must have driven out of Nairobi, knowing after getting out of Karen where he was, he must have realized that he's under surveillance. And to shake off the surveilling team, he drove out of Nairobi instead of going to his Gigiri home. And he realized that he's under a tiger tail, and that is why he drove to Naivasha, and he was trying to shake off the pursuers. And that's why he got in, and instead of stopping, he left immediately. And after leaving, the accident occurred.
And the accident scene was a choke point.
Yeah, it brings a lot to question, because that is what the driver told us. And I normally say that a story told is a story altered. We need really to interrogate what the driver was telling us and exactly what happened.
Makachero wa DCI wanasemekana wanafuatilia habari zaidi kwamba baada ya kutoka klabu ya Karen Oasis, eneo la Karen Plains karibu na makao rasmi ya naibu rais, Jirongo alihamia hoteli ya Park Place iliyoko barabara ya Magadi kabla ya kuondoka na hatimaye kufariki ajalini eneo la Karai, barabara kuu ya Nairobi Naivasha. Lakini duru kadhaa kutoka hoteli ya Park Place wamekanusha uvumi huo. Akizungumza na NTV, George Haniri, rafikiye Jirongo, amethibitisha kwamba ingawa walikuwa na msubiri Jirongo aungane nao kwa kikao cha kila mwezi cha kumla mbuzi, Haniri akiwa ndiye mwenyekiti kusimamia msimu huo, marehemu hakufika. Ilipogonga saa 2:30 wakamaliza kikao, huku Haniri akifululiza hadi klabu ya Karen Oasis na kumpata Jirongo akiwa kwenye mkutano na mmiliki Rebman Malala, hali kadhalika spika wa bunge la taifa Moses Wetangula. Haniri aliyekuwa ameandamana na mkewe hakushuka kwenye gari lake, wakageuka na kwenda sehemu nyingine. Pia, kwa mjibu wa rekodi za mamlaka ya NTSA, gari nambari KCZ 350C alilokuwa analiendesha usiku huo linamilikiwa na kampuni ya Smart Cars Limited, wala sio Cyrus Jirongo.
Perhaps doubts are mounting over whether the former Lugari MP died in a simple accident. Friends say Jirongo had over time expressed fears for his safety. Now they're demanding answers about what really happened on the road in a country where high-profile deaths in road crashes often end in inconclusive investigations. They insist this case cannot be brushed aside
the stories that are being advanced are not making much sense, and I think there is need for clarity.
The Directorate of Criminal Investigations is now reviewing CCTV footage that reconstructs the final minute of Cyrus Jirongo's life with unsettling precision.
I'm privy to the fact that that's a matter that has captured the attention of the country. But I would like to clarify that the issue of the tragic loss of Cyrus Jirongo is under active investigation. Actually, we are towards the tail end of the investigations, but there are all indications that it was a traffic accident, a fatal traffic accident, and not what other people are trying to insinuate.
A family-commissioned autopsy confirms Jirongo died instantly. Cause of death? Severe blunt force trauma to the chest, abdomen, spine, and lower limbs. There was no opportunity for medical intervention. The violence of the collision left no margin for survival.
There was a crash injury to the chest with multiple ribs fracture. There was perforation of the heart with the rupture of most of the major vessels that connect the heart. There were also bleeding into the chest cavity, and also crash injuries going to the abdomen with the crash of the liver, with also bleeding into the abdominal cavity. There was also transection of the spinal cord at the thoracic level, and as a result of our examination, we formed an opinion that the late Cyrus Jirongo died as a result of a crash injury to the chest, the abdomen, and also spinal injuries due to blunt force trauma.
They've heard that they have concurred in their reports. We have, of course, the government pathologists, and as I had promised yesterday, we as family and friends and committee, we said we must have two other pathologists, one who was nominated by the family through the family doctor, and another one through the committee that is steering this process. And the good news is that they have all concurred. We want to state that, of course, there have been so many questions, so many gaps, so many glaring gaps surrounding the death of our brother. And we've been saying we want questions to these many glaring gaps. The process that happened today is part of the process of giving us answers to these questions that we've been asking. Today we were doing a postmortem which has revealed to us the cause of death. Of course, there are other extraneous matters that are still being investigated by the DCI. We want to plead with everyone. I know the matter is very emotive.
It is unclear if even the bus had passengers. Cyrus Jirongo was no ordinary motorist. He was a veteran politician, former cabinet minister, and a man deeply embedded in Kenya's power networks. His family is now demanding full transparency. Some political allies are openly calling for an independent inquiry, citing contradictions in earlier reports and the gravity of the footage now in the public domain.
The witness account comes as friends and associates of Jirongo expressed doubts about the official narrative. Several have questioned accounts being given on Jirongo's last moments, with some noting that he had not indicated any plans to travel to Naivasha. Some close associates claiming that he left Karen at around 11:30 p.m. and was heading to his home in Gigiri, and are now raising questions as to how he died along the Nairobi-Nakuru highway. They claim that they were to have a meeting with Jirongo the following day, and at no point did he mention he was traveling to Naivasha.
He was traveling from Karen. He was supposed to travel from Karen to his home in Gigiri. But now he was found dead on Naivasha, Nairobi Road, traveling from Naivasha towards Nairobi. So we don't know. The only people who can find out is police. If they can check on the cameras, they should be able to tell, because there are cameras. They should be able to tell how this car traveled all the way to that side and back.
Naivasha is not in between here and Karen. How did he find himself in Naivasha, driving back to Nairobi? In Naivasha, driving back to Nairobi. That's a mystery that must be unraveled.
Police have yet to release a comprehensive report on the crash, and the conflicting accounts have fueled the speculation about whether the incident was a tragic accident or whether other factors may have been involved.
We are asking the investigation officers to do everything possible and tell us what really happened.
We, as the family, the community, and the country at large, we want answers.
His body has already been moved to the Lee Funeral Home in Nairobi.
Kwa kweli hakuna mmoja wetu alitarajia kwamba tunaweza mpoteza aliyekuwa mbunge wetu wakati mmoja.
I don't think there is any other person, particularly from Western, who was more loved than Cyrus.
We want to mourn Cyrus as being a very, very peaceful person that he was.
Various leaders gathered at his Nairobi home to mourn with his family.
This country has lost a great leader, a leader who inspired many, a leader who was generous.
God has taken him. We pray for the family, and from today we'll take over the funeral committee. We are sitting at 6.
Residents at his Lugari home in Kakamega also gathered to mourn their departed former MP.
Kwa hakika mimi alinisaidia sana. Manake ni kuwa kutoka jamii ya Wakisii. Yeye kitu la kwanza hana ile kitu inaitwa ukabila. Manake alikubali kusimama na mimi na hadi nikaweza kufaulu nikashinda hiyo kiti eneo ward ya Mautuma.
Jirongo will be remembered for his role in the YK92, a group of young leaders who campaigned for the re-election of the late President Daniel Moi in 1992. President William Ruto has led the country in mourning Jirongo. The head of state eulogized Jirongo as a relentless go-getter, a seasoned businessman and a consummate politician who refused to be defined, let alone defeated, by life's challenges. Prime Cabinet Secretary Musalia Mudavadi, on his side, said Jirongo was a dynamic politician who captured national attention in the early 90s when, at a remarkably young age, he helped steer the YK92 movement. Wiper Patriotic Front leader Kalonzo Musyoka says Jirongo was a bold and charismatic leader who never shied away from standing out, challenging convention, or pursuing his convictions with courage and clarity. Speaker of the National Assembly Moses said Jirongo has left an indelible mark on the political landscape of Kenya